It's a dead end, and there's too many of them. We're gonna have to pretend to be zombies. Oh! Oh! Why couldn't we just be shuffling or something? Oh! Oh! Why? Why?
Hey guys, welcome to another review. Today I'm going to be reviewing The Walking Dead McFarlane Series 9 Dale figure. Now this figure is not too bad. I'm gonna give all my gripes at the end of the video. Until then, we're just gonna be looking at him objectively. So let's take a quick look at the packaging. It's the regular Series 9 figure packaging. It's got the weird back. It says Walking Dead up here, and then you may notice that I got this on clearance. I would never pay full price for this because it's, yeah. And then it was $14.99, so I saved quite a bit. Then on the back you can see the whole lineup of figures. I like how Dale's just laying there. You can barely even see details on him. Kind of an odd way of advertising a figure. It's just see everyone else, they're in these cool action poses, and then you could get that too, which is just some dead guy. Yeah, maybe a bit of a fail on McFarlane's part, but whatever. I feel like this here should have been more of a exclusive, maybe a Walgreens exclusive, but for some reason, he's a legit figure from the Wave. Not precisely sure why. And I kind of find it odd that he comes with all these accessories. I'm not complaining that he has them. It's just, in that death scene, he didn't have any of these with him. And if he had his rifle, he wouldn't have died, really. Unless he did have his rifle and he just didn't use it. I can't tell now. I'm going to have to go back and check that. Anyway, it kind of makes him look like, when you have him like this, perhaps he survived it and then didn't get any medical attention. He's just like, hey, what's up, guys? I'm just walking around with my stomach hanging out, my literal stomach hanging out. Let's move on. Yeah, in that way, he's sort of a badass, you know? Okay, so let's take a quick look at the Sculpt and Paint. I'll show you guys some of the differences between him and the Series 8 Dale. And, yeah, honestly, the differences aren't too much, but there are some subtle ones. Like, the face sculpt is completely different, and the paint is different too, which is a good thing. This time, something good came of it. And it looks more like Jeffrey DeMunn, whereas this one looks, you know, it looks like him, but it looks a little too puffy too. Like, maybe he took a bad medication and now he's got to go to the hospital because of swelling or something. And the paint is better too, because his eyes look a lot more like the actors than this one does. A little too thick of pupil, I think. And then having the open mouth, I think, kind of makes it look more like Dale as well. And they made his face a lot thinner, which works, so overall, looking pretty good. And I know they made him pasty pale because he's dying, but it actually looks more like Jeffrey DeMunn by having him that pale than having him kind of pinkish like that. And then you can see the differences a little more up closely. The hair color is different too. That works out pretty well. Okay, let me show you this. Here's the stomach part, so you can see the differences. This is actually pretty well sculpted. I don't care too much for having this type of Dale, but being said, it is nice to have this detail of sculpt. You can see the little shirt ripped up there. You can see little chunks of guts. I feel like this was a lot deeper though in the show. Like there were more recesses. But I don't know, I can't remember that too well. It's been a little while since I've seen Season 2. Okay, and then, as you can tell, so far we've seen 2 resculpted parts. Now this is the third. It's his jacket, which is now made to be laying down instead of just like this. It looks almost like someone just heated this up and then pressed it down. But no, it's definitely a resculpt. There's the other side. Then he has this separate part of guts that's attached, but you can't take it off. That's sort of hanging off to the side. I don't remember there being that many guts, honestly. I feel like it was maybe a little dangling down, but not that much off to the side. I remember the walker didn't actually, I don't think it ate him, it just stuck its fingers in and tore it open. It didn't necessarily pull anything out even. So honestly, I think Dale could have survived that. They didn't necessarily have to shoot him because gut wounds can take a long time to kill you. Maybe that's a little much, but yeah, I think they even had a doctor-ish guy, Herschel. They might have been able to save him. I think it would have been worth a try, but I don't know, maybe Dale just didn't want to go through it when he gave him that look in his eyes like, kill me. Which this guy actually kind of has. It's kind of that sad look. Where he looks sad here too, but this is a different type of sad. This here is like caring about yourself sad. So yeah, there's the differences. I like the jacket sculpted that way. The only problem is when he's walking around, it does look odd. But then again, there's no reason to have this guy walking around. He's just supposed to be laying down his entire existence. Which to me is a sad idea for a figure. Just making a figure that's supposed to lay down and do nothing. Hey look guys, here's my new figure. Why don't you display him? This is him being displayed. No, I'm not getting that. This is just... yeah, not a fan of that. Anyway, the pants are sculpted the same. I think they've got a little bit more wash than usual. And then the feet are less articulated. It's like they're stiff, and because of that, he can't necessarily stand up. If you get him like in this position, he stands. But if you bend his knee at all, it suddenly can't stand, and you gotta try and work it around to a point where he will. Yeah, you can't really give him anything other than a straight-legged sort of leaning forward stance, which is, you know, just to play up the whole he's not supposed to be standing. But if you want to make him a walker, he kind of looks like a walker in that position just from his feet being turned in. Not bad. Yeah, nothing great there. The sculpt is pretty good, though. The head is better. The guts are kind of cool. The paint is good. The only problem is, guys, I cannot recommend this to you guys so far. Let's see what else we've got, though, that might change my mind. The paint is good, too. The hat is different from the other series hat. Here's Series 8, here's Series 9. It's sculpted the same, but this one's a little bit more pliable, whereas this one's a bit more solid. And that makes it so that the hat will, like, stay on a bit stiffer, and you can jam it down a bit better. Let's see. Here we go. So it stays on a lot better, whereas this other hat kind of, you know, just a little tiny bit wouldn't stay on as much. You gotta jam it down a little bit more, and yeah, it's still solid, but this one works slightly better. And besides that, he comes with his binoculars, which are nice. I mean, I never care for them though, because you can't really get Dale into a position where he's going to be holding them directly to his face. It's just a waste of time, honestly. But for displaying around his neck, it works. Arrgh. And it's got a nice pliable little strap on it. Put that over his neck. Then the rifle. This rifle we have seen with so many figures now. I am sick of this rifle. It can't even fit in many of their hands. It can't fit in this guy's hands. It's just too wide in the part here, the handle, and then none of them really have a good trigger finger to grab that. So this works with very few, and then they can barely, none of them can actually put it up to their eyeball. One of my customs can get it pretty close, but that's a custom. And then as soon as this came out of the packaging, it's warped like this. I don't like that. That means it's going to be stressed and it'll break eventually. I gotta heat that up and straighten it out. Kind of a bothersome thing, so yeah, I have another one of these rifles. That's just great. Okay, so that's the accessories. I might as well mention it has a strap in case you didn't remember all those other 50 reviews where I show that stupid gun. So that's the sculpt, that's the paint. Let's talk about articulation real quick. His head can do a full 360. His arms can move full 360 at shoulder, move up to about that much. He has basically the same articulation as the other Dale, only it's a little bit tighter, not quite as loose in certain places. The wrist spins, does that. It can do the scratch the wall pose and then rolling dice pose. There's no waist articulation. At the hips, he can move forward into a kick and then into some splits, but this side is prohibited by this extra piece of chunk meat there, but that's okay because Dale's never going to be doing the splits anyway, especially dead Dale. Then he bends his knees to that angle, and there you go. He can't bend his arm as much on this side as he can on this one. And there you go, that's the articulation. So there's not much that you can say about this figure, especially since I've pretty much reviewed this figure before. It's honestly a waste of time, but I'm going to do this. I like this head sculpt better, so here we go. Boom, custom. better Dale. Let me put that hat on him. There we go. And what do you guys think? Honestly, I would not recommend this for full price. Maybe on clearance if you really like Dale. Or if you want to do this sort of custom thing here. I do think it is worth it. It looks a little bit more like Dale. But honestly, guys, I cannot fully recommend this without giving you a warning that it is just a bland figure. You can't really do anything with it. And of all of the figures in the wave, he's probably the worst. Oh, whatever. That head doesn't even need to go on there anyway. I'm probably just going to stick this in a box somewhere. So, anyway, guys, make sure to check out my other reviews. Make sure to stick around for future reviews. And I'll see you guys in the next video. And tell me what you think about this guy. Is he worth it? I don't know. You let me know. Peace! And here's the horrified-looking Dale next to a horrified-looking Dale.